Chapter 1, verse 1. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem in Judah went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. The name of the man was Elimelech, which if you take the word apart, Melech means king, El means God. God, my God is king. And the name of his wife, Naomi. Naomi means my delight. I have the names here somewhere. Yeah, my delight, or my, it's a very positive connotation, pleasant to her name. And then they have 2 sons, Mahlon and Kilian. The translation kind of translates in generalities for barren or wasted, or I like to say spineless and useless. So they moved to Moab with spineless and useless, and that kind of gives you an idea of where things are going to go. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem in Judah. They went into the country of Moab and remained there. But Elimelech, the husband who said, honey, let's go and move to Moab with spineless and useless. It'll be fun. Come on. Let's go. Died. And so there she is in a foreign land all by herself with spineless and useless, who obviously not going to be too much use. And on top of that, they step away from the covenant even further, because what do? They marry Moabite women. They actually becoming, the culture evangelizes them instead of them evangelizing the culture. Instead of staying in Bethlehem, I guess we can't really say they should have stayed and starved, okay? We have to say they did whatever they had to do to survive. But I suppose what they're being faulted for is not observing the covenant. It's just basically kind of ditching the whole 9 yards. And you all had that question in your homework, which I thought was pretty interesting. At what time did you step away from the precepts of the Catholic Church, and what were the results? I thought that was pretty interesting. There are certain ways in which the ebbing and flowing of our lives, in which we think we know everything, and we think that we can pick and choose, and we can ditch certain doctrines or certain things that are meant there for our health, for our edification, for our safety, and we just think that we can just apply this one but not that one, apply this one and that not one. But eventually, as we all know, things have consequences, right? There are consequences for that kind of thing, for stepping away from the covenant of Israel temporarily, but also for stepping away from the covenant of the church that we have that protects us. And I mean church by Catholic Church, but I also mean just the house of the Lord, the Christian church, okay? Just from stepping through basic elements there as well, okay? So during this time, they become so enculturated. And I want you to see what that means. To become enculturated in Moab means what? That you're ditching the covenant, but also you are worshiping like the Moabites. Now again, I always want you to see what kind of gods are being worshipped. The Moabites worship Baal, which is one of obviously the nature deities of the Canaanites, and the dreadful Chemosh. Chemosh, one of the ways that you would worship Chemosh is to sacrifice your children in the fire. I don't know why they had this thing about sacrificing their kids, but it seems to be a demonic constant through the years, through the millennia, that somehow Satan wants your children dead. Somehow Satan wants the next generation not a non-starter right out of the gate. And so if he can get it through demonic worship, through Chemosh and Molech and all those weird deities and the Canaanite deities and eventually the Phoenicians and the Philistines, he'll do it that way. But if he can get it through you wanting to be modern and you considering them just a little bit of tissue that you can eject out of your body at any point, he'll take that too. But the smoke that emerges from the chimney stacks of an abortion facility and the smoke that emerged from the chimney stacks of the worshiping grounds of Chemosh and Molech is the same. And it has the same effect. So when we speak about protecting the weak in a story like this, that's something also that we need to keep in mind. What exactly does it mean to become enculturated? Is it a benign thing? Is it, I like to wear red and you like to wear white, or I like to go out and stay out late and you killjoys like to go home early, or you are prudes but we are really in touch with our bodies, and you have all that whole dichotomy about how being a Christian is being a killjoy and being part of the culture is something that's going to really, really, really fun. It might be fun for what? A week? And then after that, ask any college kid. After that, there's like a natural balance. But in any case, that's a different talk. I also want you to see that the people in Moab were the ones who led the children of Israel astray before they even got into the promised land. Because you remember, they didn't have a very good track record. They were wandering around Sinai. They came out of Egypt. They immediately fell flat on their faces at Sinai with the golden calf. And then 40 years later, as they're about to enter the land, they do it again. Because the Moabites take them in and say, oh, come on, let's have a party. And that's the famous sin of Baal of Peor. Well, Peor, or Fagor, depending on who you read, is right there in Moab. And it's the Moabites who induced the children of Israel into that kind of sin.